Hello everyone, it's me again, and I'm here with a review of The Last of Us. Sorry, the sunshine. The Last of Us. Now, some people will like what I'm gonna say, some people won't. Um, Let me start off by saying that this is my opinion, solely my opinion. It's not what you should do. If you hate the game, you like the game, it's fine by me. As far as I know, I'm honest in my feelings. I don't really um give a game stunning scores unless I feel there's a need to. Like if it just really blows me away, I would give it a 10 out of 10. Um, so let's get started. Now, for those of you that don't know, the story of The Last of Us, I'm not going to spoil any of the main elements, but the story of The Last of Us is there's an infection and you have to survive it. Now, if you look more into it, you can find more things out. But I have to say this. One of the key things that makes this story is based off of a real life, I guess you could say, thing. Um, but yeah, that's probably the second biggest element. Um, Now it's basically you are in this, you are in a post-apocalyptic world. Sorry, and your task is to bring this girl, this one right here, I'm pointing at, to a certain location. So yeah. Um, Now, first off, I'm gonna start off with the negatives. Um, One thing I didn't like is how it all started. Like how it started out was fine, but it seemed a little rushed to me. Like, well, it had a bit of both into it. It seemed real slow and all that stuff. It seemed real slow, then it picked up. You see what I'm saying? Um, Second, the puzzles in this game, granted, they're great. I played on the hard mode, so yeah. Granted, they make sense, but in a post-apocalyptic world, a common sense thing would be either to shoot the lock, which would make noise, or anything. I'm just saying with a locked door. If you really want to get somewhere, and if the lock's rusted, here's what you do: you shoot the lock, problem solved. In this game, you couldn't do that. There's one specific scene. Uh, Another con with this game is that, in my opinion, it was a little too short. Hopefully, with the sequel, they perfect this. Um, Another one, and this is from a while back, right when the game came out. It doesn't pertain to it now, but I ought to speak on it. The save game glitch. The save game glitch. This shouldn't happen for any game. Imagine if this game came out around the beginning of this generation. You know how pissed people would be? You know how pissed they'd be? Man, that shouldn't have happened. It was a flaw. Yes, games have their flaws. But that right there is a gigantic flaw which will damage the game experience. Now, that's done with the negatives. Let's start with the positive. The characters. Oh my god. Joel and Ellie, which is the little girl. It's interesting to see how their relationship basically unfolds in this game. It's very well written. It is very well done, and yeah, they did a good job. Gameplay wise, the gameplay it reminded me of Uncharted, but like more refined. Um, like it was more refined than anything. So now the I had a I had suffered from short-term memory loss. Uh, but yeah, it has a solid story, solid gameplay, um, solid like the characters. You kind of grow into them. Like when I first played this game, I'm like, oh man, I might not like this. But after a while, I've come to know that I like these characters. The enemies, the enemies are not like the typical zombie game where you got the zombies that just roam around, go, they don't sit around there, moan, and then just try to eat you. These things will run, try to attack you, and eat you at the same time. That's how pressing it is. And then there's these things called the clickers, which they use like the clicking from their mouth, I'm guessing. Like a bat uses sonar. You see what I'm saying? Uh, then there are the bloaters, which are big infected with armor and stuff. Um, another con is there is not enough enemy variety. Mm-mm. Sorry, someone was coming in. But yeah, but yeah, it needed more enemy types. So yeah, and I think they could perfect that in the sequel because the ending kind of baits a sequel. You'd have to see it to believe it. Um, which I hope they give us more infected in the sequel. Um, Second, more weapon types, like a real survival horror game. I guess that's what this game is. It might be its own genre, but yeah, it needs more weapons because all you get basically, well, there are a lot of weapons. Don't get me wrong. You get a pistol. You start out with a pistol, a shotgun pistol, a revolver, and there's a cat outside, and gun that is like a handheld sniper rifle. You get a rifle and a machine gun and a flamethrower. Did I already say flame? Yeah, flamethrower. Yeah, I needed more weapons. Like if it had an Uzi or something like that, that could be used in a post-apocalyptic setting. If they had like a AK or something instead of the original, like the assault rifle they had, that'd be interesting. If they had like, it would be interesting if they had like a blunderbuss. Like if you could craft a blunderbuss, that'd be amazing. Like you just you wouldn't have to get ammo for it either because you could stuff things in. If you could if you could either find or craft a blunderbuss, which you don't gotta have like ammunition to do anything, you can take body parts from the enemies and then use them that way. That'd be an interesting concept. Um, but yeah, it needs more enemies, more weapons. Needs to be longer for my taste. Um, But yeah, that concludes this review, and I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. Why? Because mainly because of the save game glitch from day one. That is the most debilitating thing you could do besides Skyrim standards on the PS3. Like, if you can't save your game and then this happens to you, you're pretty much screwed, and you gotta play however long you played in, which I know personally some people have played this game, didn't save, they were gonna save 6 hours in, and then they save it, then there's nothing there. So that's a pretty bad thing. That's why I give it an 8 out of 10. Um, so yeah, this is my review. I'll see you guys later. Bye.